Welcome to the Diagnostic Working Group meeting, March 8th, 2022. We follow the agenda in item number 530 in the diagnostic repo. But before that, any announcements?
Nope. Aside.
All right. So if you look at the issue tracker, we have 3 items in the list. The first one is 527, which is move Slack channel to OpenJs Foundation server.
Yes.
Opened by Mary.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know why it was added, but I think it's just to, I don't see anybody disagreeing on that. So maybe it was added to the agenda just to make sure that we all agree with this movement.
Yeah. Probably it's just to see if there is any opposition. Yeah.
There's two people in the waiting room.
Oh, okay.
And what is the proposal of this Slack channel? It's just to chat about initiative, or just to have an entry point for people that have questions related to diagnostic stuff?
Actually, we already have a channel in the node.js Slack channel, but this channel is public and is not paid, so we don't have some features that Slack has in the premium plan. So I think that when we move to the OpenJS Foundation server, we'll be able to have those features, and might make sense to me.
Okay, my question was more about what we discussed there. It's just about the initiative that you have in the working group, or just to have an entry point from people just to ask questions about diagnostic stuff. Is the both? Okay.
Yeah, it's the both.
Awesome.
So I guess it's a straightforward thing, unless anybody has any opposition, any objections. It can be moved to the OpenJS Foundation server, because that's where most of the collaboration is happening, is supposed to be happening.
I think we're free to do wherever we want, but it's easier for if a bunch of people are already using it and it's got the extra features, it seems like the right place to be. And unless somebody has an issue, I think it'd be right, Girish. It's like, unless anybody objects, we should just do it.
Yeah. I'm just adding +1 from my side. Okay. The next one is meeting time, which is 507. So 507, we initially started to gather consensus on the meeting date because the original date was not convenient to many folks. Then we zeroed down on to alternate Tuesdays. And then we reopened the issue to gather the time because the current time was inconvenient to many folks. Now, I opened a doodle to gather the convenient times for many folks. Just pasting the doodle link here if you want to have a look. I just reviewed it, and my impression is that it's still pretty complex. Mathematically, we have one slot, which is 3 p.m. my time, that is 9:30 a.m. UTC, which is agreeable to maximum number of folks. which is 4, but still it avoids 2 folks completely. So in summary, there is no slot in the whole 24-hour clock that is convenient to everybody in this working group. I think the root cause being we have participations from the West Coast, East Coast, Europe, Asia, and Australia. And covering all these time zones looks nearly impossible.
Yep.
The other proposal we had earlier is to split the times, just like how we are running the TSC, having two different slots, and position it in such a manner that everybody has at least one good choice. That's possible, but I mean, looking at the agenda items, we are thinning out on the agenda. So just wondering, is it really going to make impact if we split the meeting times? Just want to know others' opinions.
The last time I remember that we mentioned the fact that we could have no meeting and just meeting when we need to have discussion on some points. And then probably regarding the stakeholders regarding this topic, they could set a proper date for the meeting. I remember that we just talk about it, but I don't know if we continue on this way or no. In the previous meeting, I remember which date is.
The date is, I mean, fortunately we are good in terms of Tuesday, but even if we decide to have meetings only on demand, still the same problem of convenient time is still a problem.
Yeah, I don't think it matters quite so much though if we try to keep like decision making to be more of an async process and just have this as more like a discussion call, then like if we had like a rotating time, like I think it would be fine if like a bunch of people can't make it to particular times. It's just a place that we can discuss in more detail things, but still like any decision making has to be taken to like a GitHub issue or something. So you're not fully left out that way.
I think we should do that anyway. Like basically there should always be an issue for any kind of decision we're making so that everybody can chime in. Because I don't know that we've had too many votes or anything. The meetings, like you said, are a good place to like have a higher bandwidth discussion on something to help people come up to speed and form opinions. So, maybe finding one time slot is probably going to be impossible, as Girish was saying. So maybe rotating is the only way to make it so that you can have some of those discussions, even if it's not the full group every time.
Okay, so 2 meetings in a month, 2 at different time slots. Is that a good one for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so probably we can use the same doodle to come up with two good slots, because between then and now I think there isn't changed much. People express their convenience as such. The only person missing is Tony.
I will try to adapt.
Yeah.
Don't worry, as I said the first time, but I can add if you want anyway.
Yeah, take your time. So
Okay.
if you do that in a day or two, we'll look at that again and make my observations, findings. I will note down in the issue, and then we can take it from there. Thank you. And the last one is 437, which is identify async hooks use cases beyond async local storage. Stephen.
Yeah, still nothing really changed there. We got some user feedback like a while ago, but not too much recently. Yeah, just need to start building stuff to satisfy some of the things people have asked for. There
Yeah,
was this.
In the last discussion, I took the task to take a look in the clinic.js usage of async hooks to check if we can use diagnostic channel or other stuff. But in fact, I have seen that most of my concerns about migrating the async hooks usage from clinic.js was discussed previously by Matteo in the issue. So I haven't added anything in the issue because most of my concern is there as well. So
Yeah, and Matteo was suggesting as well that like rather than like particularly aiming for like marking async hooks as like deprecated or legacy, we could also consider marking it as internal eventually. Yeah, not sure.
Just a question about marking. What is the effect of marking it as internal? Just play a console log or something like that? It's just a tag in the documentation, or it does have an effect? I just thought, okay.
So changing it to internal would basically just be saying like no promises that this will be shaped the same or exist tomorrow or anything. It's an internal API that we just make no promise about its shape or life or anything.
Okay, got it.
We're basically telling people like this is an internal thing, you shouldn't use this. But yeah, we've kind of had like a bit of uncertainty about like what to call it exactly, because like just due to like usability concerns around it, and like there's security implications of it, and like it's really difficult to do any sort of like, make any sort of changes to it to try and improve the performance or anything. Like it's just not an API that we can recommend using, but there's unfortunately just not really not really anything that fills all of the same use cases yet. Just like where this issue came from, trying to gather use cases, and we can build just purpose focused things, and hopefully people will migrate away from it. But it's difficult for us to just straight up remove it because we'll break people if anyone is still using it.
oh yeah, I don't think that that would be easy, or at least would be possible to to support the usage of, for instance, in the bubble prof, we just need to capture all the async resource, all the async types actually that is bumping in the application. So I don't think that it will be ever supported by async local storage in some moment without exposing it internals or even without doing things better than async hooks right now. So I see this issue open for a long time, and we are discussing it a long time. So, but I don't see some actionable or something like this, or something that we can help. We have shared what is the use case, and still async local storage doesn't support, and maybe we can think about a way to support it without async hooks, right? In this group, I mean.
I think that was the plan, right? Like async local storage covers some portion of the use case, but for the other ones, Stephen, we were trying to gather input to understand what the other ones were, and they may be other APIs that are needed to cover them. So it's figuring out what API do we think we could support, which would cover that other use case, I think is the
task. So I know like one of the main ones that like a fairly large number of people use is long stack traces, which we need to have a solution for that, I think. Yeah, the tracking resource lifetime, there's a few people that want that, but I'm not sure exactly how we should do that, or like what the shape of that should be. Like there's questions I have around that one in particular about like, do we actually need like the exact events when things happen, or is this just like a statistical, we want to know like at this time there's this many things of these types, or do we need to like know the exact, like this thing was just created right now, this thing was just destroyed right now? How important is the exact timing of everything?
Yeah, maybe the exact time is not too needed, at least from the clinic point of view. We only need to track the resource created. So yeah, we can think about a workaround for it.
Yeah, like I suspect like a lot of things are just like tracking like what is the current state and not like what is the like exact timing of things. But yeah, just need more information, I think. Like I think it would help to try and put together a proposal around like an API that could possibly solve that, and pass it around and see what people think of it. Like if it doesn't, if a proposal comes up and doesn't solve people's needs, then hopefully they'll comment on it and say like, actually, I need it to do this.
Okay. Anything else on 437?
Don't think so, no.
If not, that's the end of the list in the agenda. Are there any other topics anybody wants to discuss?
I would like to just throw a question. The diagnostic repository is kind out of date. For instance, if you go to the README, we see a lot of initiatives that most of them is done or is stopped for some reason. I want to know what is the exactly path that we follow to update those initiatives. I mean, how we can create some new initiative or discuss in a way of brainstorming some possible initiatives for us. I mean, I see that the last meetings of the diagnostic working group is only there is only 1 or 2 issues, and we are not moving to we are not moving forward with it, you know. So I would like just to ask how we can bring some other discussions or other initiatives to this group, if I should create just an issue or there is a rule to follow. I don't know.
So if I take a stab on that, the 2 major work items which this working group can focus on or comes under the purview of this working group is number 1, the user journey and the best practice documentation, which you are already aware of. The second one is, if you look at the tools that this project endorses or this ecosystem user, is quite vast, and the state of the maturity level of these tools are at different stages. For example, we have classified the tools in terms of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, etc., based on the maturity level, based on the adoption in the field, based on the capability that they are exporting and things like that. So one of the things that I propose is to look at the state of the affairs of the tools and see, look at as a collective intelligence and see what we can do over there to improve in terms of the capabilities, better documentation, or adding newer features based on new use cases, new workloads, and newer deployment targets such as cloud and things like that. That would be a good exercise to do. I was planning to open an issue for that, but good that you talked about that. What do you think about that idea? Michael, I want to hear from you because you made the classification proposal for the tools originally, if I remember.
Right. I guess, like, you know, I think if I heard Raphael's question is like, how do we move some new initiatives forward? I think it'll come down to like, what interest you have in moving forward, right? Because mostly it's, we need a champion who says, okay, I think this is important. Let's work on this. I'm going to put some work in. And so I would go back to like, are there things that you want to move forward? If so, those are the best places to start on the proposal, right? You know, if you don't have specific things you want to propose and work on, then, you know, like the one we were just talking about looking for how and what the API would look like to cover that other requirement that's not covered by async local storage, I think would be one of the higher priority things to look at from my perspective anyway. So I don't know if that answers your question, but like,
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a question.
Okay, it's less about like, is there some process? It's more like, if you have something that you think you want to propose, you can open an issue and say, hey, we should do this. Here's what I'm thinking. And then, you know, the rest of that'll help the other people sort of chime in, but it comes down to like, what are you looking to help lead? Because that's where we usually end up with we need somebody who has got like enough time and initiative to push it forward, and then other people kind of help out.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking something related. Right now, I working a lot with diagnostic tools and also profilers, and I feel that there is a gap that with Node.js doesn't cover this section, and I would be glad to move some initiative forward, but I don't have I don't know, one key initiative to share. Just would like to have some brainstorming with the thing, and then we come up with I don't know, with MVP or with a possible solution, and then I can move forward.
Right. Okay. So like if it's, I think a little bit then maybe what Jarish mentioned before is like part of understanding where the gaps are saying like, here's what we need to do. Here's the tools that let you do that. So that mapping is very useful in saying, oh, and we don't have a tool to help us do this, right?
Yes, yes.
So one way is to kind of work on that documentation to say, okay, well, here's our picture. Here's where we don't have a good answer. And then, if it's just that we're not sure if there's an answer or not, that's a great time to set up like a brainstorming meeting to say, let's talk about this particular area and get people's knowledge and share the knowledge and all that. Or if it's like the steps before that, you could set up an issue, and in one of the meetings or a special meeting talk about like, okay, here's the problem we want to tackle. What's the steps we can take to get there, right?
Yes.
And it might remind us to go look at some of the other, but like, I think opening an issue that says like, here's the issue you want to push forward and work on, and then here's where you need help, that would help us understand and help you help us.
Yeah, good point. I mean, I will think about something. I will try to create a map of my understanding what is missing in the Node.js, the diagnostic land, and then I can share in some issue we discuss, and then if we decided if it's a real gap, we can do a brainstorming and then come up with a possible initiative, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, sounds good to me as well. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up. Anything else? If not, that's it for today. Thanks for joining. Talk to you in 2 weeks' time.